You're on.
Oh, I'm recording?
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that means we get started. Welcome to Natural Healing. This is a technique that deals with the nervous system. We deal with how the system actually functions, not necessarily the on and off. I'm getting sidetracked here. Okay. The nervous system works by turning various switches on and off. We turn around in order to move our arm. It sends an electrical current to the cells to absorb calcium, potassium, whatever product, to contract the arm muscle. Right? Now, if you got biochemistry, you can figure out all that chemistry. And I spent the last month trying to find the exact procedure, and I finally got the answer yesterday. That depends on what book you look at. A lot of the microbiology I studied 20 years ago, and talking to the doctors, I just got through teaching yesterday, natural healing. So I was using a lot of the different pieces. I had a good team to look at. And they go, no, that's wrong. Wait a minute, when I learned it, it was, today it's different. You talk to calculators, yeah. Which copy are you copying it or quoting out of depends on how accurate your information is. So I'm going to use a little more general terms just so I'm accurate. But when you bend your arm, you're causing electrical current from your consciousness to turn the circuits on to generate the various procedure to contract the muscle. Right? Now, when you go to straighten your arm, you're generating a different signal, or another signal, or an end, to turn around and relax the muscle and contract a different set of muscles to straighten it. Correct? That indicates a on and off switch. It turns it on, turns it off. Now, that's just one process. We have them throughout the entire body. Every function in the body has an on and off switch. And they're doing a lot of micro-detailed research on what exact chemical reaction when they send an electrical current to this cell. And what product can get passed back and forth through it. That's on and off switches. That is ones and zeros. Binary code, as far as a translation. Now, just having a regular light switch is nice, but when you start lining up all of those micro switches, you think that might be an operating system? How many micro switches are in a CPU today? A couple trillion? Everything on your computer screen is ones and zeros, on and off switch. But depending on how they intertwine them, how they link those ones and zeros together in sequence, depends on what you see on the screen. Am I losing you yet, or do I need to go deeper? No, that's fine. Now, if we're using ones and zeros, and we link them together, then that's going to write a core operating system. We have one problem with the operating system. It runs as well as Windows. Constantly crashing, and they come into our office. Right? This is where total body modification, my father's work, who started this technique, and then I've taken and developed the natural healing. TBM will deal with the individual functions, and they deal with it on a software level. When you look at your computer, you look at all the wires going to it, even the wire going from the motherboard to your hard drive. You can turn around and take a voltage meter and measure the current across that line. Whether you're using a 25 pin or an SATA. Right? Does that tell you anything? Measuring the current? Does that tell you anything? It tells you have current. Does it tell you that you're accessing this hard drive for this software? The medical world today looks at the electrical current came from the motherboard, it goes to the hard drive, that's the end of the circuit. That's all they can see. We're not concerned with the electrical current. We are concerned with the data being transferred across that electrical current. What software started the process? What software is requesting what specific information? And what software is dealing with that information? They're multifaceted. It's not a single, I got into Word and that's it. No, you got into Word to edit a document. You have different software to show it up on your screen. You have one, or like me, I've got 6 hard drives. Which hard drive am I using? So I've got a hard drive controller to figure out where that data is. Then you've got software in your hard drive to tell you what sector it's in so that it can find it. Now that just found the information. Now you got different software that's going to tell the computer to download the data. Then it's going to transpose ones and zeros into your Word, which is also going to turn around and transpose it into a format that the video card in your computer can turn around and process, send it to your computer monitor. It's going to process it and give you a picture so that you can see what it is you're typing. Now, I've been in computers back when they were a bunch of cardstock. Graphics were zeros and X's. That was high tech, and it took a supercomputer to do it. Been in it a while. Today, we take it for granted. You turn the computer on, you get this real pretty Vista screen with moving backdrops and all that. In my case, it's waterfalls. I like nature, consequently natural healing. Kind of partial to the natural way things work. But all of the different parts that were involved just to be able to pull up a document to take a note. Now that doesn't matter if it's your big, huge computer and server or your cell phone. It's the same thing. There's similarities. I'll take my big server, it's easier to read. These little cell phones are hard. You gotta use a magnifying glass. But they're getting smaller and smaller. The body's the same way. We have to figure out how to access this software and all of the side issues to give us the end result. Bring it up on screen so we can edit, make sure it works. TBM started with individual organs, finding out if that particular organ is functioning according to the individual body. Now, how many of you have installed software and started from scratch on your computer and installed the operating system, the entire software? Good. How many times have you had to reinstall it because you put the software in on the wrong order? Do you have more than one computer?
Yep.
Do you install it in the exact same sequence for the other one?
Yeah, it's all the way down the line.
For every computer?
You have Saturday morning to do with 3 kids. Yeah.
Okay. I found that on mine and my folks' system, which was all networked, and they had 6 or 8 computers. Each individual computer had a very specific sequence you had to load, and it changed. And with my folks, they had the exact same computer. I built them. I went, I bought this part, I bought that part, I put it all together. I had a stack of boxes. I assembled it. So I knew all the information, everything was the same. But when you go to load the software, each one had a very unique sequence. They could be similar, but if I loaded it out of sequence for that individual computer, it didn't run. Oh, it runs so-so, but it didn't run sweet. And if I'm going to build a computer, that sucker's going to go fast, and it's going to be quick, for whatever the technology is. And I don't like lag. I don't like sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for the software to open up. And then have an error screen come up and tell me I got to click it so I can finish loading. I'm picky. When it does that, they call it format. And I'll delete the partition, redo it, and start from scratch. I like it to work right. So the body's computer is the same thing. You have very specific software, even though we all have similar. It is loaded in a very unique, very specific format for that individual person. With TBM, we can check the individual organs. It's liver, kidney, adrenals, whichever. And he's got a test point for every known function in the body. And he's got sequences to correct some of those. He's got sequences for combinations. Some of them take a couple hours, some of them take a second or two. With natural healing, I took a lot of those long sequences and I turned around and put them into a shortcut. And I'm able, through the software, here is the long procedure. You look at it, you run it. I don't want to. It's not my job to fix the body. It's the body's job. Somewhere it got a hiccup, it didn't recognize, something wasn't turned on, and it's not doing its job. So in natural healing, we use vials, but these vials have long programs in them. So they turn around and they show the body, you have a program like this, Norton Utilities. Yeah, is it running? No. Hitting a sequence of keys and gets the program up and running. And then the body turns around and goes through and sorts. Yep, I got a cross-link file here, I'm missing a file over here, I got a backup over here, so we'll move it up here. And it resorts everything for you. So that you can work on big, complicated cases, and it takes seconds doctor time. In TBM, it takes a lot of doctor time for some of the cases that natural healing deals with. It does not mean they can't deal with it. They do. But you got to push every single button. In natural healing, we assemble an entire string of buttons and let the body do it. Shortcut. Now, they're 90%, like all shortcuts. That means that you have to do 10% or less. I always like a 10% cushion just in case I get one clown who sees nothing but exceptions. But it knocks out 90% of your work. And now when you have to go in and use TBM or NET or any of the other techniques you've learned, the results you're going to get are far superior. Where you were doing it just because, now it shows up that I need this, and it is a key factor, not a sidebar that, yeah, we should fix that. Because you fixed not only the primary functions, so that the body can now recognize where the main errors are, but you've also fixed the backup systems, so that everything that was being supported is now back up and running, not strained trying to back up your primary problem. Let's see, I saw somebody with that. Is it got the liver chart in there? Yeah. Does everybody have the handout in your flyer? I guess you got one. I think it's in the packet. Is that where you got it?
No, this is last year's.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Shoot, I thought it was there.
So you have those?
No, not with me. I'm moving to Germany at the end of the month. Yeah.
You were married this year too, huh?
Got married, I've got a 4-month-old daughter, and we've been traveling back and forth every month, and it's gotten old. So she's got a full practice in Germany, and we're moving to Germany at the end of the month. So it's been a crazy last 3 months even. Trying to get everything figured out. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here. Yeah, not with a 4-month-old baby. Not that much travel.
Yeah, Europe,
The baby's great on the plane, but it's getting the baby ready for those early morning flights, on time, it's too much work. Doing once in a while is fine, but every month, no. Just not worth it. So the handouts, no, I don't have any. Gotta be one time I wish I had it. But that's okay. Give you a visual. If the liver is a primary organ, and you can substitute any organ you want, it doesn't matter, I'm just picking the liver. And the liver has 5 backup systems. Of those 5 backup systems, each one of those has 5 backup systems. And each one of those has 5 backup systems. Now, on the printed copy, which I have in my workbook, I ran out of room on the page. You know, if you want to see what that looks like, he's got a copy there. I'm sure he'll share. Okay? That 3rd row down is only 3 rows of backup systems. Now, we know that the organs have more than 5 backup systems. We know it goes farther than 3 levels. 5 was a good round number. 3 levels, I ran out of room. So it's enough to get your head wrapped around. Now, in order to have the liver malfunction, now let me clarify real quick. Muscle testing is what we use to test, see if it's working. That was proven with Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, NASA, to be a 3 to 5% malfunction specific to the individual body. Now, the man who did that research is sitting back there. For some strange reason, he happens to be my father. I'm not sure if he'll own it or not, or admit to it. But I had some nice inside knowledge. And that was in 72, 73? What?
79.
Was it that late? I thought it was early 70s. Okay, 79. It was a long time ago. The medical testing was a 40 to 60% malfunction on a group scale, is what they found. Muscle testing go down to a 3 to 5% malfunction, specific to the individual body. Do you think you could find a problem before they ever got a symptom? Welcome to TBM. This is what we do. Natural healing is the same thing. Now, with that liver, if you get a weak muscle, that does not mean it's 100% blown or malfunctioning. It only needs to malfunction 3 to 5% to get a weak muscle. Okay? How many of those backup systems had to fail just to give you a 3 to 5% malfunction? Now, not all of them had to fail 100%. But how many of them? Okay, class participation, guys. Any answers except those that just got out of class? No answers? Okay. What is the purpose of a backup system?
Correct.
Got the main
Keep something from failing.
Yeah. So if one backup system is working, would you ever see an error?
No.
So in other words, that entire chain had to fail. Up to 3 to 5% or more. It didn't have to fail 100%. But total 3 to 5% minimum. Right? So by fixing the liver, that would take the strain off of those backup systems. Correct? Now, what if those backup systems had primary functions as well? Do you think their primary function was also strained because of a simple liver problem? And liver is an easy one because that's your primary toxicity or detoxer. And what are the, well, no. The three primary diagnoses out there is hormones, adrenals, and thyroid, right? Most common. Everybody treats it forever and is still treating. Well, did anybody take a look at they happen to be three of the most sensitive organs to poisons and toxins? And if you fix the liver, now it can detox, and now the adrenals, hormones, and thyroid are functioning. That fast. Muscle test to muscle test. Been doing that for 40 years now? About right? How many things do the hormones affect? How many symptoms can you get out of that? It's pretty wide known, at least on the general scale. How many symptoms can you get out of thyroid with it malfunctioning? How about adrenals? Do you understand the magnitude of fixing just the liver? And I just picked one organ. Pick any organ. You have similar systems, similar cascading crashes, and symptomatology that are not necessarily, what they walked in with is not the cause. Oh, now, that tree going down the hill skiing this time of year, the auto accident, I'll give you that one to a point. But why didn't the body automatically reset it and put it back online? Why has it stayed offline? Don't know. I mean, that part obviously would change patient to patient. We're not sure. As you look at the patient, you can see what's going on. You can test, you can correct, and find the positive factors.
Yeah.
But this is the power of what TBM and natural healing do. Minor, simple things. One move. And if you're slow, it takes a whole 10 seconds to turn the liver on. That's only one individual organ. That's TBM's specialty. Now in natural healing, I turn around and go after the entire system, not just the organ. And the backup systems as far down as the body will let me. The urinary system, the detoxification system, you name it. Systems that common science doesn't even know exist yet. In fact, I had the class I just got out of teaching yesterday. I got 3 of my researchers in class, so we've been up till 2 o'clock in the morning every night developing new systems that Sunday we didn't know existed. And we're playing with that. We're going to be playing all week with it. Got new toys, got new victims. See what it does. Because we'll get cases that our normal techniques don't work. Well, we got a new toy, we got a weird case. I wonder if they go together. We're notorious for it. But that's how we play with the new system. If you're not getting the results the way you want, you get on the phone, you find out who's got an answer. If you can't figure out an answer, call me, call Dad. I call doctors around the world because if I don't have it, I'm on the phone with who's seeing and play the games. Because the body is designed to work. There's an old rule in TBM. Well, at least that's where I learned it anyway. Probably as a kid, breaking all the rules. If they're breathing, there's hope. If they're not breathing, it's a heck of a lot more work. If they start smelling, my personal preference says quit. That does not say we're dead in the water. That says that's where I draw the line. Somebody else may not have a problem with it and keep working. I may bring them out of it. Today, maybe not, but tomorrow's a new day. We're learning new things every single day. There's always something. There's always that patient in your office that you're just not quite getting well. You get almost, you get little bits, but you're not getting the results you expect. This is why we take seminars. That's why they call it practice. There is always something new to learn. I may have one of the most advanced techniques out there on a result-based research. If I'm not getting results, I'm not teaching it. But I am always out there looking for something new. What is true today changes tomorrow. What was true 10 years ago is no longer the absolute of today. A lot of it still works, but now we have more knowledge, sicker patients, and there are more factors involved that have to be considered. Or you're not getting the results that where you made one move, and man, they went from wheelchair to walking out of the office. And we've done it. TBM's done it. I've done it. Some of the cases TBM couldn't do, natural healing does. But then we get another one, same case, same symptomatology, similar problem, and they didn't get out of the wheelchair. Wait a minute, no, this is unacceptable. So we start doing more research, and within a short time, we get them out of the wheelchair again. It's the only way it's supposed to work. And we're constantly changing, constantly evolving. About every 10 years, the body mutates. Seems to be on the 10-year mark for what I've been seeing for the last 40 years. Watching how it worked, how it works. And what worked 10 years ago doesn't work today the same way. What used to be an absolute, you make one move and it's done. Today you make one move plus a dozen other moves to get the same results. The body shifts. And it doesn't matter about when they're born. We've seen 80-year-old people, male and female. They went from working this way to working the new way. Just in their standard osmosis of exposure to our environment. Their bodies adapt. And they have to adapt. Or you die. We live in a toxic world. You cannot isolate yourself from it. Is there 1 square inch anywhere on this planet that is not polluted? I don't know. No. Whether it's the air, whether it's the ground, it's polluted all the way down. So you either adapt or you die. The patients you're seeing are not adapting properly. Our bodies are designed to adapt to the new environment. How many of you have moved from a warm climate to an ice climate? Did you all stay in the same location, same climate? Or did you live sometime over in Southern California, then moved up to Oregon, Washington, or East Coast? Lived down in Florida and moved up to New York for whatever, or New York and moved down? And you notice when you first moved there, the temperature changes were uncomfortable. But after a few years, it became normal. And you never even noticed it. Oh, you automatically grab the jacket in the winter. You automatically grab the shorts in the summer instead of your long pants, depending on where you're at. But you adapted to the environment, the weather conditions. I lived in Southern California most of my life. Well, not anymore, but the first 27 years anyway. I spent most of the days in shorts and sandals, year round. Didn't even worry about it, it never changed. Unless I was going out somewhere, then I dressed up, but if I'm just out and about, man, it was cutoffs and flip-flops. Maybe a shirt. That was it. I moved to Salt Lake, get away from the earthquakes, and I froze my bahoonies off. And that was with a heavy jacket, long pants. It was cold up there. We didn't know what cold was. You know, cold in Southern Cal is 60 degrees. Geez, we're going to stay inside. Up there, it was 10, 15 below zero. That's cold. And they're out walking around, they're skiing, it's like any other day. It might as well have been sunny and warm. Well, after a few years, I was the same way. Then I moved down here to Vegas. Took another few years. That 122 degree heat is hot, but it's a dry heat, so for the first couple of years, yeah, it's a little hot, and we'll stay more inside than outside. But when it hit the wintertime, it drops to a whole 40 degrees, above zero, and you go, shoot, man, what do I need a jacket for? It's nice. Now? No, I grab my jacket. It's cold, I've been here. The summer, I don't even think about the heat. I got one of the doctors that comes into an August seminar that I'd have here every year, just to go golfing in 122 degree heat, and he starts golfing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, I go golfing with him. It was fun. Of course, my idea of counting strokes was how many balls did I lose? I'm not a good golfer. Still learning. It's a lot of fun. If I counted my strokes, I probably would have bet my clubs already. If I count balls, hey, I lost 5 balls less than I did last time I played. That's good. I'm improving. I could find them better. It doesn't mean they didn't go this way, just I could find them better. But the body adapts. It takes about 2 weeks here to adapt to the dryness. We run 3 to 5% humidity. And when you come from a high humid area, your skin dries out, your lips get chapped. In about 2 weeks, the body regulates and readapts to the dry humidity. So any questions so far? Okay. Now, the natural healing technique turns around and we put in many thousands of hours worth of work into a small vial. They're like these. But these are not allergens like you get from Apex or some of the other companies. These are actual CDs to the body's computer. And you'll set them on the body, turn around, get a weak muscle, indicating that particular program is malfunctioning. It's not working at its optimal point. It doesn't mean it's completely crashed. You go, just like if you test the liver, it goes weak. It does not mean they're in liver failure. It means it's a touch out of whack, 3 to 5%. or more, and we treat all the way up to liver failure. Mandatory liver transplant, especially natural healing. She's never had the transplant. We turned around, we saw her for a week. It was one of Dr. Danforth's patients. We tag teamed her quite a bit over the phone. He's out in Lubbock, I was here. And yeah, we get her out of crisis, but she'd fall back. There was something going on. So, all right, it's time to bite it and bring her up here. Let me really see what's going on. She got up here and found out she was in one of the eastern countries back in the early 70s, and there was a car bombing just outside of her hotel room. Blew out the windows, the whole bit, and she was there. She was all cut up from the glass. Come to find out it was a dirty bomb from Russia. Started doing a lot more checking and research on some of the games they were playing with their germ warfare back then. And it was a funky one. Never made the market because it was too long-term terminal. It wasn't a short-term, which made it efficient and useful. So they round-filed it.
Is it viral yet?
Honestly, I couldn't remember. I knew then, but it's been a few years ago. We did a lot of research, and it took a lot of back doors trying to figure out. We figured out where it came from, and then some back doors and connections that we acquired for at least that moment to give us the information we needed. We got her fixed. If she walked from here to that door when I saw her, she would take 2 breaks to catch her breath. That was Monday morning. Her stomach was out like here, distension, leaky gut syndrome is what I called it. The medics called it a bunch of other things and never looked. They're notorious for it. At least the ones she went to. They never did look for a leaky gut, which I knew was there. So we would turn around and fix that as well. Minor details. We got her on, she could eat 3 bites of food a day. That was it. So we had, and it didn't matter what it was. So we had a severe malnutrition. So we put her on water and rare sliced red meat. 3 meals a day. That was the only thing she ate. Until she could eat a pound of red meat at a meal. Then she could eat the rest of her plate. Because of the nutritional factor of red meat. And yes, science and all these alternative health papers and that say don't eat red meat, it's hard on the system. Well, if you go talk to a dentist, they will tell you that our jaws, our teeth, are designed for meat. We're meat eaters. That's genetic. Our digestive system is not a vegetarian digestion. It is meat. Now, inside the meat has one key factor that is the difference between life and death. And we're talking about red meat. That's buffalo, deer, elk, moose, bear, even cow. The others taste better, less messed with, but a little pricey. But cows are the same. It's a catalytic factor that fires off the nervous system. Now, if you take a bucket of resin, do not put the hardener in it, what do you get? Nothing. It just sits there. Okay? The medical industry turns around, and pharmaceutical, and says, this is the bulk of the product, therefore that's the active ingredient. Now, in the products in nature, you not only have a bulk product, then you have small amounts of buffers, and then you have micro amounts of catalysts. Now, in that bucket of resin, if you put a few drops of resin, or hardener in it, how fast does that bucket turn to a rock? Yeah. The only way you're going to get the results you're looking for is add the hardener. Right? Nutrition is the same way. If you don't have that catalyst factor, you don't have the buffers, because the raw product has negative side effects. And we can attest to that to look at all the nutrition out there. You can only take so much of this, or you have symptoms A, B, and C, correct? On just about all of it. Nature naturally puts in buffers to counteract that side effect. And then puts in a catalyst to activate it as one unit and get the maximum benefit out of it. Now, right now, the last thing I've heard, if you eat vegetables, raw even, just so we don't have any degradation, you get around 12% absorption of the nutrients. If you eat vitamins, it's less than that. Hey, Dale, that's your field. What's the absorption on normal vitamins?
Well, there are a lot of studies that are done. Calcium is really worst. Calcium probably, I would say, less than 30% or something.
30% absorption on high potency. Does it matter? You're still, I'll leave it with pure product. Putting it in a pill, which you've amped up the milligrams, versus what you get in natural food with all of the factors. You get a 30% absorption of 1,000 milligrams. How much are you getting? Not much. Okay? Red meat, you get over 90% absorption of the nutrients. Because the nutrients, all the vegetables and that, vitamins, minerals, the animal ate, digested it because they are vegetarian. They do break it down properly. And then distribute it inside the muscle. So you have an ionic form of the vitamins, minerals, hormones, the miscellaneous parts that you need inside the muscle. Already in a usable form. The body does not have to digest it as far as the nutritional part. Oh, it has to break it up, well, granted. Break the fibers up, release that nutrient, and when that cell ruptures, it releases the nutrient so it goes straight through the walls. Yeah?
What about the concept of separating carbohydrates and eating protein at different times and all that? I always wondered the natural connection of that.
We've looked at that, both Dad and I, and he's there snickering. See how I'm going to wiggle out of this one.
That's a good question, Dad.
I'm not, I'm going to slam it.
Let me ask a question too.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of these diets out there, well, no, majority of them are just total junk and quite profitable because they bring you into a doctor's office if you stay on it long term. Just about all of them, if you stay on it long term, you will end up in a doctor's office. So very profitable. And if you don't believe me, flip the cover over, or the book, look at the picture of the author. Tell me if you want to look like that. Now, there's two reasons he looks like that, possibly. He either did his diet, and look where it got him, or he didn't do his diet, and what's wrong with it? So if you're going to write a nutrition book, don't put your picture on it unless you look healthy. Okay, that's the first. Now, there are many of those diets. The single food diet, even the blood diet. There was a couple others out there that I can't remember off the top of my head. that you do that for a very specific digestive problem. You do it for 1 week, a maximum of 2 weeks, to give that individual system a break while it's repairing. No more. Or you start becoming hypersensitive to anything outside that system. Now, one of my favorite hobbies a few years ago was going out to dinner with doctors. And I had a few that were on these newest kick of diet. And I even looked at the diet. And yeah, okay, this fit. Not a problem. But I'm not eating that junk. We're going to Applebee's, the steakhouse, wherever. I'm going to eat real food. We get through with our meal. They spend the next 3 days in bed, and I'm ready for the next meal. Now, if that bloody diet is so good and they're so healthy, why are they in bed? And if you want to see true science in all its glory, go to a health food store and try to find somebody who looks healthy. Now, all the science in the world tells you that organic food, all that health food is good for you, better nutrition. I will not disagree with the taste is better. I'll give them that one. But they can't measure that, so it doesn't matter. And if it is all that, why does everybody in there look so dead? And they've been going there for 20 years. But if you do find somebody in there that looks healthy, look what's in their cart. 1, 2 items that you know you can't get anywhere else. They're not filling their cart. Now, I'm all in favor of you have a special occasion. Go ahead and get some of that organic stuff. Pay the exorbitant rate so that you have a phenomenal meal. Because you got company coming or whatever. Once in a while. I won't argue about the taste. But if it is so nutritious and they follow all those health books, why do they look so dead, so lethargic? Now, go to the grocery store. Count how many people in there look dead. You'll get about the same number. So if all these chemicals, all this junk food is so bad for you, why are they living and the others aren't? And if somebody's got an answer for me, I'm looking for it. Because I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But here's facts. Here's science theory. They don't match. Yeah?
What is your meaning of being healthy? That's relative.
They're not gray. Their skin isn't sunken in. They're lethargic. They're shuffling. They look healthy. If you can look at somebody and tell what's wrong with them, when you learn walking diagnosis, you learn to look at somebody, you can read their eyes, you read their face, you read their hair, their hand positions, their body movements. And they're in relatively good health. That's good health. When you look at somebody and you're starting to count a list this long, things that are wrong with them, I wouldn't call that healthy. Do you look at people and see what's wrong with them? Just from appearance? That's what I'm talking about. Same thing. No, you're not going to go up and start testing a bunch of body points. They're not going to let you. There's too many people in there anyway. It's a waste of time. But to be able to walk in and look and see what's wrong. How sick are they? Where are they on that scale of health?
My next question is, lots of time if you have an organ problem, there's no way that you can distinguish that from the Just a view.
Want to bet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Talk about
If you want to learn how, talk to that man back there. I spent my entire teenage and pre-teenage years sitting at the beach in Malibu watching bikinis and matching him toe to toe on what's wrong. What do you see? Oh, it took me several years, many years, to match him. But it was funny, we only watched the ones with bikinis or less, and the smaller the bikini, the more diagnostics got done. Oh yeah. And if you know Malibu, that's mostly private beach. So we had quite a few views, they forgot the thong.
Good research.
They got deep diagnostics.
Yeah.
For a teenage kid, that was ideal. Gave us a good excuse, and I still say that was Dad's excuse for watching them. That way Mama didn't beat the back of his head up. No, I'm teaching him diagnosis. Yeah, we didn't get any of the oversight. Well, we can be selective.
It's like a binoculars, right?
Yeah, I didn't see the others. But, yes, you can see all kinds of things by watching how the body moves. Watching the skin tone. Watch the hand positions. Watch how they move. The shape of the hands. Where is the head sitting? How's the shoulders sitting? There's thousands of things you see watching them walk, including organ function. They're distinct. You may have to learn how to read it. I won't dispute that. I was brought up this high learning how to read. So what I do instinctively and automatic, nowadays it's more difficult for me to try to teach it. A few key things, yeah, okay. But all the micro detail that I see, no. That was something I learned and was educated through my entire life. And we still match periodically, just to see if my skill's up, or to see if his is slack, because he's getting old. It hasn't, don't worry. Mine slacks a little bit. So does that help?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
need to know more.
We all do. You know, I may teach some of the most advanced work out there, but I got there by constantly being in school, constantly learning. I may be at the top of the game, but the only way I'm going to stay at the top of the game is keeping up with what everybody else is doing. It's a constant learning. If you expect to turn around and come out of school and that's it, that's all you need, you're in the wrong profession. The bodies change constantly. They didn't call it cure patient. They said practice. Means you're never perfect. And the moment you get all the answers, the patients change the questions. And you've got to stay up on the game. I have doctors calling me for the new flus. They're just kicking their butts. I have to know ahead of time what it is. And luckily, Dominique's got the sequence for the new one that just hit Vermont and Colorado.
Oh, very good.
No problem.
I just got that a couple days ago. So, like I said, we keep up. We have to. Because as soon as we get one doctor come in, hey, we got this symptom, or we hear about something, and we've got the pre-sequence already set. Because we start getting calls within 2 weeks from around the world. What is this? How do we fix it? We got to have the answers. And it's constantly changing. So we're constantly educated. Taking a seminar once is enough to tell you that, yeah, this is something I might be able to use. It does not give you enough knowledge to start wielding it, owning the technique. Especially TBM, natural healing. If you have a photographic memory, you might hear about 33% of what's being taught. Now, of that 33%, it is a miracle of what you do here. When you get back to the office and you use 3-4 pieces of it, you literally get miracles in your office. And then you'll go back to the book, you may use a few more, and you get more miracles. But if you go back and you take the seminar again, even the same one, and from what I've heard from my students, and students when I taught TBM as well, we gave almost the exact same spiel, word for word, within minor deviations, and they heard an entire new seminar from what the original was. They never heard the next piece. My seminar, I had one guy who took 6 seminars in a row. Each seminar, and they were only a month apart. He went back, he played with it, took the next one. Each seminar was a completely new seminar to him. Same workbook, same everything. But he heard different pieces. Yeah, because he argued with one piece, and while he was arguing with that one, can't do that. Science says that's impossible. He went back to the other, oh crap, science was wrong again. Okay. Now when he came back, he already dismissed that argument, so he heard the one that came after it. And, yeah.
2 questions, because I'm new to TBM, just to get a bit of clarity. Sequences, do you mean they're moves? Are they like to do with the vowels in terms of what's...
You know the programs in Module 3? Have you had Module 3?
No, I've never taken it, so I'm...
Oh, you've never taken it?
This came as an...
Okay.
Like what's a sequence?
Sequence is...
And is it linear, or is it non-linear?
That depends on which system you're talking about. TBM, it's very linear.
Okay.
Natural healing, it's very chaos. But the doctor's aspect on natural healing is very linear. What the body has to do to accomplish what you told it is very chaos. By intent. I got sick and tired of doing step 1, then you're going to go to step 2, then you're going to go to step 3. And when you have several 100,000 hours worth of work to do, it takes too long for the body to process each step individually. So we ran it in chaos, multifacets, and now I can do it all that fast. And now I can go to the next step. It's not wasting my time. I don't have time to sit around. I get patients that have got 2 weeks to live. It was a week and a half and she was scheduled for a liver transplant. When we got done with her, I had her walking 1.5 miles without a break. Just keep on walking. She was not only eating a full steak every meal, but she ate everything else as well, an entire plate. Never had the liver transplant. She's had a couple of bouts of it since, sent her back to Gil. And it was usually because she dropped her meat levels or dropped her water. When she kicked that back up, she was back up again. And we could trace it. Oh, you're falling apart. You didn't come in. You didn't eat your meat, did you? You're right, I was off. Ah, crap. I think we beat it into her finally that she's not going to drop it. And she's back living her normal life. She's off the list of liver transplant. And the liver's fine. Everything's thinning down. The distension in the gut's disappearing. And she's enjoying life now. Without surgery, without drugs, even without vitamins.
They want to know, what drugs are you taking that you're getting all these good results? All your labs are coming down?
Natural healing. Go look that drug up. Yeah.
Yeah.
The saddest part, they see these results and they don't come in to take the work, to learn how to do it for their patients. You know, it's fun. It's fun to, many of them, and I'm not cutting the guy on the corner. One, if they do take the work and start getting the results, they've got the AMA climbing down their neck. That's not standard medical procedure. You're getting too many people well, you're not cutting on them anymore. Excuse me, you're not fulfilling your obligation. They'll put it under different terms, but same basic. And they've got to really play a fine line. The AMA tells them what they can do, what they can't do, what they can know, what they cannot know. So anybody who steps out of it, it's a little dicey. Many of them are going kiss off and they're stepping over it anyway. They care about the patients. It's the corporation that's the problem, not necessarily the doctor on the corner. And that was a hard pill to swallow when you're treating medical screw-ups routinely. Oh, they did. Oh, you're still. I'm still treating medical screw-ups because they got to them first. That we could just gone. Now that they've intervened, well, it's more profitable, but that isn't my purpose. I like having them walk in with, walk out without, and I demand it. I will begrudgingly, stomping my feet, concede the body can't do it on every case. But, as the oldest saying goes, if you don't demand a miracle, how are you ever going to fight for it? How could you ever expect it? With natural healing, most of the refreshers, very quickly they learn to expect a miracle. Medical impossibility is standard procedure. That is normal. And we get very upset when we don't get it. That's just, no. Excuse me, what did I miss? Why aren't you out of that wheelchair? I don't care if you've been in it for 5 years. MS, Parkinson's, you name it. We've treated it. We've had a couple MS patients, about 4 or 5 moves, they're up out of the wheelchair walking. I had one that was 6 to 8 weeks before he started walking because he was in a wheelchair for 5 years, the legs atrophied, there was basically nothing but bone. Paralyzed from the waist down due to MS. Couldn't move his hands. And if he did, it was all over and slap himself. He couldn't talk. He had that standard MS, retarded type speech. And boy, am I glad I kept my mouth shut on that one. Because I treated him at 5 o'clock in the evening. Saw him the next day. And I had to stomach through a 20-minute poem recital of The Raven. I hate poetry. But this guy couldn't talk the day before. And he recited it with perfect articulation. 24 hours. Then to find out he was an engineer that built dams at a minimum fee of like 25 mil each dam. This guy was not stupid as I preconceived him to be. Do not judge the book by the cover. It will bite you back. Been there, done that. Hey, okay. That day after I listened to The Raven, he drove a knife down to the bone on his leg. Oh yeah, he was also feeding himself. Minor detail. Which he couldn't do the day before. No feeling at all. At midnight, I got a call from him. Ratting and raving about an SOB, what a quack, and every other SOB word you can think of. Full military vocabulary, with perfect articulation. About how his legs are killing him. It took him another 20 minutes to hear me laughing. Finally, he said, "What are you laughing about? This is not funny." I said, "Yes, it is. Do you remember putting that knife into your leg this afternoon?" "Yeah." "Did you feel it?" "Oh my God. Enjoy the pain. We'll fix you first thing in the morning and take it away with simple liver because of the toxicity in the legs." It took another 6 weeks for him to be able to start walking because he had to build the muscles up. That was the only reason. legs have to feed, and he had the coordination. He was already moving his legs, but there was no strength, so he had to build it up.
How long does it take to build up the muscle tone?
In his case, 6 weeks. He was crawling within a week, but it still took time to get the muscles built up. There was a lot of other things we had to do as well. Because just because he had MS is only a symptom. That's only a flat tire. I had to find the nails. What allowed the MS to exist in the first place? I was trained not to go on symptoms and just patch up the symptom. Why did the symptom exist? What had to malfunction to allow that symptomatology? And what allowed that one? Until you can take it back to a point that answers everything. There's always a single cause. When you find that single nail that keeps taking your tire flat, it no longer goes flat. But as long as you keep putting air in the tire, you find little things, but they're not all the way through, they're just noisemakers. It doesn't do much. They're going to repeat it. You'll get down the road a little bit, but it's going to go flat again. You've got to find that nail. TBM is the one who taught me to go after that nail, find the cause. There's always a single cause. And it's rarely what you think. Very rare. Once in a blue moon, we get real lucky and it's what we think. Usually what we think is just another layer of symptoms. Yeah, Dominique. Oh, okay. Thought you raised your hand or something. Does that make sense? With natural healing, we can get down, we can shave off 90% of the symptoms in one move. Now we can specifically go after the individual factors, if we have to. Oh, and I'm not happy about going after micro detail on a patient. I have no problem going after micromanaging when I'm developing a new technique. I do that all the time. Clear down to an intercellular connective tissue and the inside the cells of how the chemical reactions are setting up. What's the communication? The detail is phenomenal. But when it's working on a regular patient, I don't want to go after all that stuff. It's not my job. But at least I can knock out 90%. Although most refreshers will tell you we're closer to 99.9999%, which is more where I like it, but I like a cushion. Just for that oddball that gets all the oddball patients. Nothing except TBM is 100%. When you fix the liver with TBM, the liver stays fixed. It's 100%. TBM was built on 500 cases without one failure, or was scrapped. And just about every technique in TBM has got almost or well over 1 million cases without a failure. Let's see the medical industry match that. That's over 40 years of not just one man running it, but thousands of doctors worldwide getting the exact same results. Let's see the medical industry match it and their science. Result-based. And as Dad taught me, if you're not getting results, quit. You're wasting your time. Results are the only thing that gets the job done. Once you've got the results, then you can backward think of why you got the results. Just because science turns around and predicts this is where it should go, so we'll use this. should go, but they don't get there. Now, if you take your car to a mechanic, different topic but same theme, and you've got a nice Mercedes, and your mechanic has a book for Toyotas, and he's using the Toyota manual to fix your Mercedes. How long are you going to go to that mechanic? Or how long is that mechanic going to use that Toyota book? Not very long, right? Didn't get the results, did it? Has anyone ever seen a textbook case in your office? Why are you still using that Toyota manual? Does that make any sense to anybody of why you even consider their principles when they don't work? Have they ever fixed anybody? Now, I will grant you auto accidents, severed limbs, the medical community for emergency medicine, stabilizing a patient so they can survive long enough so we can fix them. Yes, they're phenomenal at that. I have no argument there. It's beyond the body's ability to control it. They're phenomenal for emergency medicine. But once they're stable, it's outside of their knowledge. They can't fix it. They haven't. Have you seen them fix anybody? And be off all the drugs and back living a normal life? Or do they keep them on more drugs and more drugs and more drugs? I don't care. I'm teaching. They can call me back.
Mine and mercy.
If it is, I'll deal with it later.
Before they smell.
Possibly. Or I'll refer them out. When they start smelling, I'll refer them out somewhere. So everything that you've built your knowledge base on, all the science, everything you've been taught, chiropractic, medical, how the body works, does it get the results? If you stayed by the textbook that you were taught in school? Or have you gone out to different seminars and tried to learn something that actually works so that your patients feel better and get them symptom-free? And I'm hoping try to find the causative and cause-free. That's what I do. That's what my father beat into me. And to make sure we get results. Once you got the results, you got a consistent results. Now find out why. Results first. It's much easier to find out why you got results because you're at the end of the road and you can look back than it is to try to look forward and pray that you don't have a roadblock along the way. What's the old saying? Forward sight's blind, but hindsight's 20/20. Get there first, then you can figure out why that path worked. And when you make a correction, you get a result. Analyze it. Look at why. Start backward thinking. Because after a while, you can start looking at the symptoms of your next patient, and you know why it happened. Let me rephrase that. You have a good idea of where to go, how to fix it. Because you had a similar patient earlier. And you understand why. But even then, backward think that one and see if it stays the same path. They're different. Any questions? Not enough info? Well, that's no fun.
Many questions.
Good, start with one.
I'll ask you.
I'm asking, what?
I'm pre-news. I don't have any idea what's going on. I'm trying to.
Okay. With natural healing, we turn around and we've created various programs that we can run many thousands of hours worth of work in less than 5 seconds and get the body to heal itself.
I know you have done it last year. That's why I'm here. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah?
I had a sweet taste in my mouth for
Oh, yes.
a long time. I've never gone back since that seminar.
Oh, I'm sorry. It'd be nice to have a constant sweet tooth, or sweet mouth taste anyway. But, good. Hadn't seen you at a seminar.
No, I am. I like it home more.
That's where you really learn, is the seminar. Because in the natural healing seminar, we're going to teach you how to go through it step by step. We're going to teach you a first visit, second visit. When you come home, normally I teach Monday through, Friday through Sunday. And Monday morning, you're able to hit the floor running. There's a lot of different pieces to it. Are you going to have all of it and master it? No. But you are going to have the primaries to get results. You're going to be able to run it on your first patients. You're going to see results, instantaneous. And as you start playing with it, you're going to start playing with the other techniques that you learned. It's not a matter of massive memorization. It's not a cookbook either. I refuse to teach a cookbook technique. If you have this, do this. This natural healing is like an orchestra. The first couple seminars, you're going to learn how to pluck a string. But those strings are life-saving on the most extreme patients you have. As you take more seminars, you'll learn to start using chords. As you take more, you're going to start assembling the chords into music. And as you take more, you're going to take that instrument, combine it with other instruments, and create an orchestra. And learn how to wield all the different parts. I'm making an music that is so unique and life-saving to the patient. It is creativity. Beginning stages, it's very straightforward, very easy, non-thinking. Body wants this, body wants this, body wants this. Run. Period. That gets you in the door. That gets you getting results. As you start playing with it, it starts increasing your knowledge, understanding how to play with it. And then you come and take another seminar and you learn a new way of playing. Not that your way was wrong, but you learn a different way of playing with it in addition to what you had. And keep it fun. I have yet to have anyone attend the seminar and say, I've heard all this before. I've been teaching for over, I don't know, 14 years? Yeah, this is 99, or 2009. So 14 years all over the world. And I've yet to have anyone attend a seminar and not say it's completely different. But yet many of the workbook stuff, the stuff in the workbook is the same. It hasn't changed since 95. Oh, a lot of the other parts have. But as far as the procedure, how it works, they've been the same. And they still hurt different. So, what are we doing? Where do we go, 10:30?
11.
We go to 11?
11:15.
Ah, cool. Okay. Let's see. You still having trouble?
Not on the sweet part. I have.
Okay, what else?
With your lecture, I find that I have liver toxin because I do have the hormonal, adrenal, and thyroid problem. I'm trying to manage it with the herb, with the thyroid and adrenal. It doesn't work. It does work, but as soon as one day I don't take the vitamins and other stuff, I just go drained out completely. It's like a computer that you crash down. I don't like that.
Okay. So all you're doing is putting air in the tire.
Yeah.
I don't know, let's see. I'm not going to make any promises, of course. You can leave that up. I don't care. Now, when you go treating a patient, you have to treat them in the environment they live. If you step them outside of their environment, you have one body. When they go back into their environment, like their watch and cell phone, I'll have them take cell phone off if I'm doing something that's going to break. But I'm not doing anything to break. Put it back in.
No, I just not.
You always keep it there. I have to treat you in your environment, not in and outside it. Because whatever they treat outside the environment, when she goes back into that environment, it's going to set up the same parameter where she started. Now, if you're into seeing a patient forever, treat them outside their environment. Because as soon as they get back in it, their symptoms are going to come back and you get another office visit. But it's not the way I work. So let's see what we can do. Just hold hard. We're going to check hypothymus. Good, she's not toast. Now this one's just a Band-Aid. First aid is what I call it. It's actually all of natural healing in one vial. Hold. Now, actually, before I go doing that, I want to make sure we're still good. Yeah. Okay, you said thyroid, hormones, and adrenal?
I do have a problem with the thyroid. It started like 2004,
Okay.
and then it just got.
Yep.
I
You got
better.
the right lobe, middle lobe's okay, and the left lobe's bad. And the thyroid as a whole. We said adrenals. Yep. Come on, hold hard. Yep. Both adrenals are shot. And thyroid. Oh, that's not good. Thyroid, adrenal, hormones, that's right. Hormone points. And they're
They
bad.
are. I know.
Yep. Well, I agree. They are. Now come into liver, hold. And that's bad also. Now I can treat the liver and retest all those. But I like cheating because I know there's more to it than that. But notice how you feel right now. Hold. Okay. Breathe in, out. Hold. Good. Now let's hold. Breathe in, out. This is a technique called optimize to set everything in. Now, come in and check thyroid. Hold. That's good. Thyroid's fine. Adrenals. Take a deep breath. Hold. Still got something with the adrenals. And let's go liver. Liver's still shot. It didn't fix the liver, but it set other things up. So, hold. Fix the liver. Breathe in. Hold. Remember I was saying that 10% you got to go after? Hold. Good. Now the liver's fixed. And that fixed the adrenals as well. And hormones. Hold. Good. Breathe in. Out. Breathe. Hold. Okay. What's changed?
I can recognize anything at this time.
Walk a second. back and forth. How many people were watching her before I worked on her? Noticing what she was doing, her skin tone. Anybody? A little more. Let it walk in. Walking a patient is very useful because it allows the body to move. And as the body moves, it makes adjustments. It puts things back in different orders. Yeah. Pumps cerebral spinal fluid. And as you watch, you can watch how they move. Where's the shoulders? Where's the fixation in the mid-thoracics? How's the hip moving? Is it moving side to side, up and down properly? And if anybody's watching, you notice those hips are starting to move more. Not quite as locked up.
I had a problem with this hip, so I don't know if it's that one right now.
Is it still there?
No.
Oh, shucks. Didn't even know about that. You wonder why I ran the Band-Aid first. Now what's changed?
I feel like you can take it more deep breath in, because more less stress on the body. This is another thing I feel like.
2 moves.
Did you correct liver? I didn't
Yeah,
miss that.
I had to go after it specific.
And that corrected the adrenals then?
Yeah.
So you go like a good spinal nerve area, that innervation, that organ?
Yeah, it was C8 or T8 was the central. Oops, thank you. Optimized is the technique, but you're going into the 8th thoracic, which happens to be the main trunk for the communication throughout the body. We've been working on that for about 15 years, trying to figure out why T8 was the one that showed up that got the results. But it seems to be the central sequence on most of the organs, whether it's in TBM and several of the other techniques out there. If it was a major organ, T8 was somewhere in the mix. So we're going, okay, it's a central piece. Yeah.
Should she not need her supplements anymore?
No, she shouldn't.
Nothing at all?
You're going to be here for the week, right?
Yeah.
You said you crash tomorrow if you don't take them today?
Yeah, actually I didn't take it this morning, but I was like having planned to go at 10 o'clock just to take it in the break. Because I know
I'm
I would
going to be
crash-
around.
Crash.
Don't.
Okay.
Medication, I won't touch. But vitamins? Yeah. You probably get an overdose reaction if you took them. And, well, as you know last time, we're not playing around.
No, I know.
It may be Band-Aid. It's not a full workup. It's not going after everything. But it is no less powerful.
I have a question. When I was thinking that when you get the adjustment, you affect the nervous system to the organs.
Yeah.
What happened that I keep trying to get the adjustment and it was off every, like the next day is off or the next week is off. And I felt like even with the adjustment doesn't adjust these things anymore.
Yeah.
It's like a hip, the problem I have, I get adjusted, but as soon as I go the week after, it's all off.
Mm-hmm. That's what I call chasing ghosts. You're going after all the symptoms. Have any of you ever caught a ghost?
That's right.
Right there at your fingertips, isn't it? And then it disappears. You can chase ghosts till now the cows come home. You're not going to get anywhere. I work very hard at not going after symptoms. Yeah, I could have fixed your thyroid, adrenal, and hormones. There's corrections for those. Or I could go after the liver. But before I did any of that, the natural healing vial, this little thing, turns around and rewrites the entire neurological network. Gets it online, gets the body to recognize which piece is broken, which piece is not, and automatically fix it.
Do those involve like trace elements and minerals or just all kinds of stuff?
Everything. The body is designed to pull your nutrition out of your food, not out of a pill. The nutrition we have in our food today is hundreds of times smaller amounts than it was in the 16th century. Why are we not dead? Our body has adapted to the smaller nutritional needs even over the last 10 years. And we have to. Yeah, go ahead, question.
When you have, when we do use herbs and vitamins and so forth, and we're getting phenomenal results from it, that's only taking care of the symptom portion of that, and then our body is either going to reset and work like it should, or we're going to have to be more dependent upon it. But the reason why I say this, my legs started to fill up on my left leg, and looking at peripheral artery diseases and things like that, and I took Nuva Ursi and cat's claw, and it drained completely in 2 days, and I haven't had those same symptoms, but I still had the funny feeling and the tingling every now and then. So I'm looking at it now. Am I looking back at circulatory system, liver? Where would I go from getting rid of the symptoms?
There's a difference in my mind on how. I am not against vitamins, nutrients, and herbs, especially herbology. But if you use them longer than 2 weeks, the body will quit pulling it out of your normal foods. 2 weeks, usually a high dose, maximum, is therapeutic. But an easy way to find out if it's doing anything is when they come off it, their symptoms come back. There's many products out there. Oh, take it for life, you'll feel great. And when you come off it, you crash hard.
Symptoms worse than you
Yeah,
had.
worse than you started. That is only masking the problem. It is no better than a drug. Yeah.
You're off.
I'm off. Okay.
Just pat on the back and wait for it.
No, that's my wife.
Yeah. What attitude?
I did. It's nice having a doctor as a wife. If I'm not doing the right thing, she can get up there and go, fix. All right, you're not making any sense. That's it. You're done. Get over here. We fixed. But yeah, if you're taking a product and when you come off it, all your symptoms come back. All you're doing is covering it up. Now, there are cases where you need to cover it up for a short period. Let that system heal. Or while it's covered up, you can get at the backup system that's allowing it to crash. It may be a way to get in. But you don't want to do it longer than around 2 weeks.
Is there like a specific organ or system that I should be looking at more? As far as
In your case, Andrea, cat's claw, that's your pet peeve. What's that specifically for?
Inflammation, bacteria, cancer, viruses, fungus, anything with an itis.
Okay. So you may, instead of going after a circulatory problem, I'd be more inclined to go in after the bacteria and virus type side of it. But if the swelling dropped back down, then I might look at resetting the nervous system, getting it back online.
Thank you.
So would be my guess.
So it's parasitical. Would you talk about maybe more intestinal environment, or like parasites in the intestine? Or
No, you can get them anywhere.
oh, no, I'm just asking you just to hear it.
No, I said virus and bacteria.
Okay.
I didn't say parasite. No, because if it was a parasite, the cat's claw wouldn't have touched a parasite that'd be in that area. I'm piecing together. And I could just as easily be wrong too. But cat's claw, I'm more inclined to go with bacteria and virus theory, or a mold, which works very well on.
I have an allergy to moles.
Oh, gee, I wonder if that would be high on the hit list. But that's also easy to fix. Mold, allergies, natural healing. When you're dealing with the nervous system, how many cells in the body are not affected by the nervous system? That's right. So when you rewrite the neurology to actually recognize every cell in the body, recognize that it's either functioning or not functioning, and to what level, and activating the auto repair sequence to automatically repair the areas, put everything back at an optimal level. You think you get some weird results?
With you mentioned having the miracles. I mean, are you talking about like with allergies and so forth that you do this and you're done with that?
Anaphylactic shock, eating it by the pound. 10 seconds.
I would like to have that done, definitely, because I can't eat fresh fruits and vegetables. But, my tongue's swelling, the roof of my mouth, getting itchy and so forth. I literally have. There's been many times I might have gone into anaphylactic shock with fresh fruits and vegetables, and I have nuts. There's a combination. It's almost everything basically.
Okay.
Got to eat and cooked.
Where are you located?
Stockton, California.
Okay. That's close to Sacramento, right? Good. No. Oh, Molly
Robles.
Robles. Robles. She's up in Sacramento. She just moved there.
It'll
She
be a
does
few
the
months. It'll be a few months. She just had a baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she did. 3 days ago.
Okay.
But she's on my referral list.
Okay.
I've got doctors all over the world. Because those type of cases, yeah, I could probably fix it here, but I'm not doing a full workup. And when it's a minor allergic reaction, hey, I'm the last person to shy from fixing. Let's go prove it now. Anaphylactic shock, that's a real pain in the butt to bring out. It's a lot of work. And I want to make sure I've got my ducks lined up before. And that takes a full workup.
More systems involved with it.
Oh yeah. It takes a little more background so that I can watch the system and read the nervous system to know ahead of time where that nervous system's going, where it's crashing, and how to get ahead of it and stop it. It's not one that I truly appreciate you falling out cold in front of me and not being prepped that it's happening. Although I did have a lot of doctors do that to me, and it doesn't panic me, it just gets me mad. If I knew ahead of time, I'd take measures accordingly. You know, there's some things that are just fun, and some things just not worth the risk. And someone that I've never touched, I have no idea, with such drastic results, I'm not willing to play on a Band-Aid. I'd rather do the full workup. Fix it? Sure. I have no doubts about that. I've done it too many times. But when it's a serious case, I'd rather have the full workups. Molly's good. She's up to date with stuff. She would have been here this weekend, but she had a baby instead. The audacity. It was a little baby boy. Was it 8.5 pounds, 20 inches long, I think. So, does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments?
Do you need any more of my symptoms?
I don't remember a lot of what happened
Right
last
now,
year.
what's going on?
Oh yeah, changes?
Changes,
I'll always
yeah.
take those.
My left hand is getting cold and it's a little bit shaky.
Uh-huh.
And then I feel like I'm a little fuzzy, cannot concentrate.
Drink some water. Not that stuff.
Thanks, Lord. You said what, quart of water, 50 pounds of water?
It's 1 quart of water per 50 pounds plus 2.
Plus 2.
Plus 2. We found that TBM has always said 1 quart of water per 50 pounds. That came out of Batman Jolly, whatever. Body's many cries for water. I can't pronounce his name. And his ratio was off. TBM was working on and found there was 1 quart per 50 pounds, and it needed a +1 to get it over the hump. I started working on environmental intolerant patients, which is extreme high toxicity. These are the patients that they cannot leave their house. If somebody opens the front door to their house and they're in the back room, and a car drives by, they pass out cold and seizures right now. Severe toxicity is their primary problem. So I learned a lot about toxic dumps and how to get them through it and how not to kill them doing it. We spent 10, 15 years doing research on it. And then it slowed down in the last couple of years. I'm still playing with it a little bit, but it's been, the primary research is done. Just some minor tweaks here and there. And because they were so toxic, we had to add an extra quart. And adding that extra quart got them into my office. I got them well enough, flushing the toxins out enough, that they could get into the office and get treated. And within 30 seconds, I can throw them in a smoke-filled car. I can run them down to the strip, around all the cigars, the cigarettes, the perfumes, the slot machines, the electronics, that they could never even think of doing a week ago. They would have been passed out cold and seizures. Oh, and hugging their husband and their husband hugging them back, watching the Bellagio, the water fountains with all the chlorine. When the closest they could get to their mate was a plate glass window, and kissed through it for years. That's called love when you stay together with something like that. Just the touch would turn her sick. Chronic. 30 seconds. Let's go. Routinely. There's a couple of people in here, you can ask them. Dominique back there in the corner, she's had a few. You had any different results?
No, they're easy.
Yeah. Boring almost. The only thing that's enjoyable about an EI patient anymore is watching someone who had absolutely no life have a life with their mate or anybody. Be able to enjoy life. That's rewarding. Because it is so boring and tedious that it's not worth my effort. It was great when I was figuring it out, and that's a challenge. Okay, I got it figured out. It's 3 moves. They're done. A little bit of maintenance, and it's boring. It's routine. Until I watched the couple that they were both crying. They actually could not only have a life, but they could have a life together. Sleeping in the same bed now. She's no longer in the travel trailer in the driveway. She's in the house. Yeah. Changes. Minor. 30 seconds. No longer allergic to everything. A couple little things got to be fixed along the way, as always. But when we added the extra 2 quarts, that got her into the office. Ran across a couple other patients, and I put them on the 2 quarts. Say, I'm getting such good results here. Let's see what it does over here. And the patient's results started climbing through the roof. Normal ones, not the extremes. And after a while, when they actually started getting it in, Started out, and of course I always ask them how much are you getting in, how much you get in today. And their attitude changed from the 6 quarts was most of them, depending on their weight, of course. Well, I got that last drop of the 6 liter in just before I went to bed. And they're always struggling to get that last drop. It's difficult. Jumped it to the 7 liters for that weight size. And within a week or two, oh shoot, I got the 7 in by noon, I'll get another 3 or 4 in before I go to bed. No big deal. Their entire attitude and the volume they drank kicked up massively. It was just, once somebody got over that hump, it became thirsty. And water was the only thing that would satisfy it. And started flushing things out.
Even she's drinking her water.
4 months old, she was drinking water a week and a half. It took us that long to get a water bottle.
How much water do you use to the insect?
Whatever they'll drink. The rule of thumb I've had for years, these new babies, the rules are changing. It used to be consistent. However much milk, breast milk they drink, equal amounts of water. They still have to have water. These new babies are surviving on a lot less water. At least the ones from 08, what I'm seeing. Not only got mine, I mean the patients, hey, I'll just chew them out for not giving it to them. Okay, this is my baby, we're having trouble getting volumes in as well. But when she needs it, she gets it. She seems to know instinctively when she needs the water and when she doesn't. And she does let us know.
Yeah. Does the hydration of the mother's breast milk, due to her hydration, affect the amount of water that they're going to get through that? Or a mother who does not drink water, will that be less water?
It's not water. If you take a 5-gallon bucket of water, add 1 drop of lemon to it, it is no longer water. It changes the entire molecular structure of the water. Now it's food. The body has to pull water out to digest it.
Is there a percentage of what it would pull out and actually be water?
I'm sure there is. I never worried about it. The bottom line is, it still doesn't count. So yes, the lemon makes it taste palatable, depending on where you are. But it doesn't count, so why waste your time? If you're going to drink something, might as well be a cup of coffee or a Coke or a beer or something that at least has some flavor. Why drink water that doesn't count? I mean, I've got reverse osmosis at home, and water tastes good at least. This water's junk, but at least it counts. You know, and I've drank almost a full pitcher just while I'm up here. Little tiny glasses.
Does the body know where to stop the over-hydration?
When I'm on my normal schedule at home, I drink between 8 and 12 liters of water a day, routinely. I also routinely eat between 6 and 8 pounds of red meat a week when I'm at home. Now in Germany, my steak is getting dropped down to the basement. You can't get 3-pound steaks over there. Not yet. Well, I got a friend who's related to butchers, and they know where to go get some, so we're trying to figure out how to get there. My normal steak is 2 to 3 pounds.
Per day or per meal?
Per meal. My single serving steak is 2 to 3 pounds. It's 2.5, 3 inch high. They end up being about that big. Barbecue. And it has to be blue. Very rare. If those cells rupture, you lose the catalytic factor that I was talking about earlier. It's not going to allow the absorption, not going to give you the nerve energy it needs. Red meat is like an alternator to your car. You can run on battery power for your car, but not very far, can you? Without an alternator. Especially at night. You're not going far at all. What it appears is a healthy body has a 30-year battery. About 27, 28, everything starts dying real quick. And I have not seen anyone so far that has lived beyond 30 years of being a vegetarian. Doesn't happen. Now, there are certain cultures that can be vegetarian. The only one I've seen so far, I believe, was Korean. They could actually be vegetarian. The Hindu cannot. In their country, they turn around and when they make their bread, it has bugs in it. They just cook it up and eat it. Never think twice about it. I've got a lot of doctors over in London area, England. And there's a lot of immigrants over there from India. Now when they look at their flour, if there's bugs in it, they throw it out. They're not getting their bug supply. Now they have to eat their meat. And they're getting sicker than a dog. Because they're not. Their religion says. They have been vegetarian for millennia. Theoretically, that should have stayed. It didn't. The only ones I've seen so far were the Koreans. Some of them, not all of them, actually can be vegetarian. And we do have a test called meat levels, whether they can be vegetarian or not. I had one of the doctors that I know, he's got a patient that no matter what he did, he couldn't get meat levels to test out. And the guy's vegetarian. So he went, hot dog, I'll have you go see Randy. He'll give you the lecture. No problem, he'll find it. Because I know it's there. Has to be. So he got it. And I went, okay. So I lined up my 2-hour lecture and chew out. And da-dee-da-dee-da. Reach up, hit meat levels. Huh? No, wait a minute. This. Okay. Damn, there went that lecture. I was looking forward to it. One of those guys that you can really get into and chew and takes it kind of personal, but he can roll with it so he can have a good time. And his doctor's right there, so it made it even more fun. I had to round file the whole lecture. Oh, man. Ruined my fun. And I've had 2 of them in the last 40 years that actually could be vegetarian. My dad's had 1. But it was years ago to know. So without it, they're not going to survive. By the end of the 30 years, thereabouts, and that's if they start healthy. If they're sick, it's shortened. At the end of it, they start getting tumors, lethargic, no energy, can't move, can't think, and just going right down the tubes. And no matter what you do, there's not enough nerve pulse in the system to fire it up. They've worn out the battery. And what we're seeing with the research I'm doing is that there are only 2 primary foods that you have to have as far as nutrition. One is red meat. A healthy body, we're seeing it needs an average of 3 to 5 pounds of red meat every 7 days. If you're sick, it needs more. Minor sickness is usually about 6 to maybe 8 pounds. When you're on death's door, it's up and over, well no, I think the highest I've seen was 15 pounds. And they had a week and a half to live. There was no nervous system left, there was nothing there. And we got her on 15 pounds in a 7-day period. And she just started hitting them. She's still around. Doing great. But firing up the nervous system so it can fix itself. So depending on how much they need, you can judge how sick they really are. And it doesn't matter if they are looking healthy and everything you see. It just means what's going on in the background. They're primed and ready to crash hard. Yeah?
I want to explain what you mean by red meat. There's beef, there's ham, there's...
Ham's not red. I did. Well, okay. I'll do it again for you. There's, of course, the old standby beef. You've got deer, buffalo, elk, moose, bear, your red meats. That is not your fish, not your chicken, not your pork.
I bet like your thing, you got a horse meat on that. It's horse kill.
Oh, Andrea's not here. She could have answered that. I haven't seen any horse that I know of.
Mexico.
Mexico, I can see it.
Germany?
Germany, I haven't seen any horse. I've seen boar. Not horse. I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any horse, but I have seen boar. There's a lot of boar out there. And it's all wild, fresh caught. In Stuttgart, anyway. I haven't seen any horse meat. That does mean it's not there.
But that'd be red meat to horse meat, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Not that meaty horse, just curious.
I hear they're very stringy and tough. So I'm going, what's the point? Also, the other food you need is fresh fruit. Fresh fruit contains the vitamin C, is what we believe. At this point, we know that's not 100% accurate. But that's the only thing we can put a label on at the moment. It's something else in fresh fruit. Because it does not seem to matter what kind of fresh fruit it is. And not all fresh fruit has vitamin C. So we're still looking at it. There's still more information to find. Your red meat, that contains all of your nutrients. And 1 pound of red meat, from what we've been testing out, what we've been finding, and confirming with several biologists and microbiologists, whatever they are. And nice having buddies with stack of degrees in research and validation. 1 pound of red meat equals an entire crate of vegetables for usability. The nutrition you will absorb from a 1 pound steak is equal to an entire crate of raw vegetables. That's why that gal who couldn't walk, I had her on steak 3 times a day. Now, eating steak every day and a little bit of fresh fruit, after about a month or 2, you can't stand another steak. I don't care how you fix it. That is where the other foods change the palate. You can't eat the same thing day in and day out and expect not to get sick of it. So I'm not saying don't eat the other foods. That's fine. You need something to change the palate so that that steak doesn't get sick. That's also why I get 2 to 3 pound steaks. That's one meal. I've got at least my minimum. If I eat 2, then I'm sitting in pretty shape. Although I usually eat 3 or 4 in a week. Yeah.
Now, when would you specify eating raw beef as opposed to rare beef?
I don't.
You don't?
Although carpaccio is very good.
So it's just
love
personal preference then?
Huh?
It's just personal preference.
Rare and raw. Now, it also cannot be ground. You cannot have tartare and have a count. Because the moment those cells, if you look at what it actually is, inside the cells of the meat is where your catalytic factor that also activates your absorption of the meat at such a high level. And if that cell ruptures, your catalytic factor is gone. It only lasts seconds. By the time it comes out of the grinder, it's gone. There's nothing there. So a hamburger doesn't count. Tartare is ground hamburger raw. Doesn't count. If you like it for taste, hey, great. I don't have a problem with that. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not for or against it. Now you want carpaccio, that is a roast that is paper thin sliced raw. We take a frozen roast, run it on a slicer thin, spread it around the plate so it's all nice and pretty, and some olive oil and some balsamic vinegar and Italian seasoning and some ricotta cheese and some funny weed thing you put in the middle.
Parmesan rucola.
Oh, okay. Oh, rucola is that funny weed thing in the middle, right?
It tastes good.
How do you give this kind of food to an old person that's not
Carpaccio?
no,
It's easy. They don't even have to chew it. It's paper thin. They can swallow it whole. You can gum it a little bit and swallow. I love carpaccio. You can thin slice it without a problem because you have not ruptured all the cells. There's still cells in that carpaccio that are left. A proper steak, when you get through eating it, there is no blood on the plate. Now you can turn around and have it hot, top and bottom, and the center is cool and like Jell-O. And it melts in your mouth like Jell-O. The longer you cook it, the less flavor you get, and the tougher it gets. So blue, in this state, well, at least Las Vegas, you have to order it blue. Because if you order it rare, they call it medium because you don't know what you're talking about. So we'll just cook it medium and you'll be happy. Because that's really what you meant. If you say blue, no, it's French for rare. And I am saying it improperly. I just can't pronounce it right. Been working on it since Italy.
How you spell it?
Bleu, B-L-E-U in French.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But in this town, if you order it blue, then they know you know what a rare is, and they'll bring it blue. Then if I've been living here for 6 years, I learned the game. Okay?
Show us the reflex.
You want to see the reflex? Okay.
Isn't that lovely?
Now, the reflex is easy. It's a pad of the fingernails. The entire finger beds. 4 fingers in a straight line on the liver point. Test muscle. If it goes weak, it's malfunctioning. They have to eat meat, but there's another protocol that goes with it. Quite a few protocols. Because they can be allergic to the red meat, therefore every time they eat it, they get sick. You have to be able to fix that. Now with meat levels, it's easy enough to fix, but you've also got a stack of questions that you have to ask. And I'm not going to teach it here because there's too many ramifications if it's not done right. You get a patient who eats meat that still doesn't have the enzymes to digest it, they get sick, you look bad. And we do not care if they are, I have a mutation in my DNA, I cannot produce the enzyme to break down the meat. Yeah, been there, done that. If the medical industry ever actually knew what the DNA says, they wouldn't be saying that. The reason you're not producing the enzyme is because you're not eating it. But that circuit can be turned off. So you have to be able to turn it on. You also have to be able to fix protein metabolism. You also have to find out how much red meat is needed in a 7-day period, how often they need to eat it, and how much at one time. Because they may need 12 pounds in a 7-day period, because they're really sick. But they can only eat a half an ounce twice a day. You do the math. They don't add up, do they? And if you don't ask the question correctly, in the right wordage, you're going to get a different answer. And the patient can get sick. Now that changes every time you see them. Because as they start getting the meat in, it's like you got an empty warehouse with only one dockhand. You need 1,000 truckloads of product. Well, you can't exactly line them up into the stockyard to unload the trucks, can you? When you have one guy working. It takes him an hour a load to unload it. So you've got to schedule it in, small doses, until you get more staff. Now you hired a second guy. Cool, now we can do 2 trucks at a time. Until you get a staff that's 1,000, so you can do 1,000 trucks an hour. But if you're down to one guy and you got that 1,000 trucks lined up, how many cities are in a gridlock because of those trucks waiting to get unloaded? Now picture that going on in the body. How many systems are going to crash because of the backup by trying to digest it? This is where need and use in vitamin testing is a big difference. Just because you need X amount does not mean you can use it. I may need 12 pills a day of whatever it is, but I can only use 1 every 3 days. That one you can take home. It's a neat little trick. Difference between need and use. Oh, we are at time. Any questions? Thank you. Got a stack of cards that have my webpage on it, my German phone number, if I can get them out of my bloody pocket. There we go. Welcome to Taven. We'll have, as soon as I get back settled into Germany, we'll be rescheduling everything, getting everything up to date. Some of them. Most of them are by request only, but we will be back in the States and throughout Europe. Really good. How you doing? Let me shut that to you.